Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dr. Stone Geekout, a very belated Dr. Stone Geekout. And this one's going to be solo for me. So, figure I owe you guys some explanation. It's like, seriously, at this time, we are about to go into episode 7, and we're just now releasing episode 3. What the hell happened? Couple of things. I guess the smaller thing really is, Brian, and I, we've been very busy lately. It's just mostly scheduling conflict. I know. It's like, I've been having a typical day. Brian's, he was having a vacation from work, but now he's getting back into it. And then Ryan's starting a new job. So we don't really know what his set schedule is at this moment. Because usually there's been like a day or two where it's like, okay, all three of us are available. Now this is where we can actually do our geek outs. So it was a little wonky. We didn't really know what was going on, but that was a minor thing. The more major thing, really, and this one is entirely on my fault, so feel free to kick my ass for this one. So the way we do our recordings for these geek outs. So we were introduced to this bot specifically that you can use in Discord calls called Craig. We like to call it Asshole Craig. So what you do is you type in the chat, to bring in the bot, and the bot will join the actual call for the server and will begin recording. And everybody that is actually in the call, they will be recorded. But rather than it just being recorded on one separate audio file, Craig is able to, pretty much like differentiate between the voices. So in the end, when you would tell Craig to stop recording, it will produce audio files for everyone that was involved in the call. So, it would compile them all into a zip file. So when you would open up the zip file, you would find 3 audio files. You would find my audio track, you would find Ryan's, and you would find Brian's. It's been very, very convenient, because before we would always open up Audacity, we would record ourselves, but then it's like, okay, who's in charge of editing the video? We have to make sure that we're saving everything properly. Then we got to upload everything to Mediafire or some other website where we would have to, send the file, because, Discord, trying to send something through Discord is so ridiculous because it's so small. You can only send small files. You can't actually send recordings for Let's Plays or Geek Outs or anything like what we do. It's too big. And there's been all these freaking hurdles. Thankfully, Craig has cut out so much of the middleman. So it's just bring him in, do our discussion, kick him out, and then Craig will provide a link for us to download the zip file. That link remains available for about 7 days, and then it wipes itself clean. Usually, because I'm the one that edits the Geek Outs. I've been editing the Dr. Stone Geek Outs, and I was doing the Golden Wind Geek Outs too. So because I was doing the editing, naturally I was the one that was going to be doing the downloading. And I'm usually pretty good about downloading the files as soon as I get them. For whatever reason, I did not get around to downloading the audio files for our episode 3 discussion in time. So then we record, 4, 5, and 6 normally. And it's like, all right, time to go into editing. And then I see that the file for episode 3 is no longer there. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I didn't download the audio for it. So, so then the 3 of us were all like, okay, let's try and, come together and re-record. But once again, things have been getting a little busy on our end. So it's like, okay, this has got to come out eventually. You guys have waited long enough. I've put this off for way too damn long, so hence why for this episode only, at least as of right now, I am tackling this one solo. So that's pretty much what happened, scheduling conflict and mostly my stupid ass. That being said, though, it really 3 was really the first episode where there's really not much to talk about. You know, I mean, it's like the first episode's a given. Second episode brought in our villain. Third episode, yeah, not really all that much to talk about. I mean, like probably the big thing really to talk about is Yuzuriha. This is the episode where Yuzuriha is released from being petrified, and now she formally joins the cast. So, pretty much, you know, the three of us, we were just kind of discussing, okay, our first impressions for Yuzuriha. And all three of us pretty much agreed she's there. That's kind of the unfortunate thing with Yuzuriha. Like, granted, that's not to say that, you know, oh, she's a worthless character or anything. She's not. You know, I do like Yuzuriha. The downside is it really takes a lot of time for her to really come into her own. You know, when you compare it to, you know, Senku, Taiju, and Tsukasa. Because really, all three of them made very strong first impressions. You know, you got Senku's as the mad scientist, basically. Taiju's just boundless energy is just so damn infectious and enjoyable to watch. And then, yeah, immediately you saw, you know, you saw what was going on with Tsukasa. Like, you know, it's like, okay, we saw he's very strong, you know, very capable. And it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be a cool guy to follow. And then, oh, snap, he's gone rogue. So, and that's where we realize, oh, crap, this guy's the villain. So, I mean, all three of them made very strong first impressions. Yuzuriha, on the other hand, she's just the girl. That's really tragically how she is introduced. She's just the girl. Now she does she does play a key role, but it does come way, way later. And I'm talking about even as far as like the manga goes. Like really, Yuzuriha, I honestly, I don't think I personally started warming up to Yuzuriha until we got to chapter 2 I keep calling them chapters. They're really like arcs, like the big second arc. That's really when I started warming up to Yuzuriha. So, and suffice it to say, that's probably going to be next season of the anime. So, you know, Yuzuriha took her sweet ass time, and you know, she's a good character. Make no mistake about it. It's just when you compare her to the boys that we've met so far, it's just, oh, really? You know, there's not much about Yuzuriha other than, you know, she's the love interest, and that's it. I mean, hell, she didn't even have, like, time really to, like, you know, to properly even, like, digest just what the hell was going on until, like, towards the end of the episode. You know, which, in a way I can understand. Because, you know, as soon as Taiju was like, hey, we've got enough of the water to, you know, revive someone, we can use this to save Yuzuriha. This is when Senku was trying to keep all this shit a secret from Tsukasa. You know, because Tsukasa has pretty much made his motives known. But, oh crap, Tsukasa now knows just, you know, what's going on. How is it that people are being unpetrified? And, you know, basically it was like, you know, so Tsukasa goes, you know, because they tell him that, you know, oh yeah, there's just water in a cave, and, you know, we need a lot of it. So, you know, Tsukasa, of course, playing up the, you know, trying to play him up more as a good guy because, you know, he's in front of Taiju. You know, he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of all this. And that was when Senku goes on the offensive and is like, okay, we're going to revive Yuzuriha and we're going to fucking bolt. You know, we got to run because this guy is bad news. So literally, you know, she gets unpetrified, and then literally as soon as she opens her eyes, Senku's like, okay, listen, we got two choices. We either stay here and fight Tsukasa, and that's a pretty much guaranteed death sentence, or we run and try to develop weapons that can take him down. Taiju is just like, wait, why are we going after Tsukasa? And then Yuzuriha is just like, I have no idea what's going on, but okay, I'll go with you. It's like, really? I know comedy is a big part of Dr. Stone, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, really? You know, you just go along with shit, don't you? It's like, you really have nothing to say here. And it's like, again, that's the first impressions about Yuzuriha, unfortunately. She's just, I'm just here to be the girl. And and it especially sucks considering, like, in a couple of episodes, when we do start meeting more female characters, they make a larger impression than Yuzuriha does. So, but we will get to them when we get to them. So, pretty much this episode is really them, they're wandering and they're trying to develop, they're trying to find stuff to develop weapons. Or rather, Senku wants to develop gunpowder because he's like, look, this dude is insanely strong. There's no way we can beat him, like, bare hands. I mean, not even Taiju can do it. Like, because Taiju is the kind of guy where it's like, yes, the guy can take a hit, but he never punches back. He's pretty much, he's the glorified tank in this RPG party. That's really what Taiju is. So it's like, yes, Taiju can take a hit from Tsukasa, but as far as actually fighting back, Taiju's useless. He's not going to. And yes, Senku and Yuzuriha sure as hell can't. So that's where Senku's like, okay, we need to develop guns because, bare hands and our stone tools are not going to take this guy down. Nothing short of guns is going to take down Tsukasa. So he wants to find and develop gunpowder. And towards the end, he actually manages to find a key ingredient of it. They end up finding this hot spring. In the hot spring, there are large deposits of sulfur. And he's like, well, now that we found this, we can take the sulfur and take, some of the other stuff that we have, and we can combine them, and that's how we can make gunpowder. Now, it's funny because, it's just funny because at the end, like, when you see him announce this, you see Senku with a gun, which is just so goddamn funny to me. It's like, Senku packing heat. Really? It's like, it's just so goddamn goofy. But that's really where the episode ends, is, yes, we need gunpowder to take down Tsukasa. We were missing a key ingredient. We finally managed to find one. So now we're going to start stockpiling on gunpowder so that we can start making bombs and shit. Because that's the only way we can take this guy down. Now, there is a moment in the middle, like, while they're traveling, they make a note that, like, there's, like, cherry blossoms around. And they're just like, why are there cherry blossoms? And, Senku goes on this whole thing about, like, the type of cherry blossoms that we had, they, back in the day, they were gone, they would be gone now. But it ultimately leads them to come across this giant, like, the remains of a giant Buddha statue, which was, like, a key landmark from, way back in the day. And admittedly, this is, like, probably, like, the one moment that Yuzuriha has where it's, like, the reality of the situation finally sunk in. Because she really didn't have the time to really think about what's been going on. She's just getting dragged along. So she has, like, this flashback with her and her parents visiting this Buddha statue when she was a little kid. And she sees that, the statue, it still remains. It's cracked and broken, but it still remains. And thinking back to it, that's really when she realizes my parents are gone. The world that we knew it really is gone. And it's like, it should be a powerful moment, but it's just one of those things where it's like, again, I think it's solely because Yuzuriha has just not made a great first impression. I personally don't really feel it as much as I probably should. I'm glad to see that they're at least trying, they're trying to develop her a little bit. But again, the bulk of what makes Yuzuriha a fun character is not going to be in the prologue. It's going to come way, way later. But on the funny side, what happens is, Senku, of course, being the little mad scientist that he is, he sees that, oh, hey, this Buddha statue, it survived because, in the state it's in, it's made of bronze. And, Taiju is just like, oh, it survived because, this is the holy Buddha. And Senku's like, no, it's because the statue is made of bronze. It can actually last. And, he brings up how with bronze, bronze can create mirrors. And, hey, you never know when you may need a mirror. So he's like, hey, cool, we got something that we don't have that maybe we'll need in the future, so I'm gonna go take some pieces of the Buddha. And Taiju's like holding him back, saying, no, you cannot carve the sacred Buddha. That was pretty damn funny. But now this is Senku we're talking about here. He is not a religious man by any means. And that's really all there is to the episode. Again, there's not a lot that happened here. So that's why I was like, you know what? I can handle this one solo. It's not like there's a whole lot to talk about anyway. So, Yuzuriya, she's here. Buddha statue, funny scene, and Senku packing heat. That's pretty much the takeaway that we can get from this episode. So, again, I apologize for this taking so goddamn long to come out, but I'm getting on it now, and pretty much this week, expect a massive catch-up. So I'm going to be putting episodes out for 4, 5, and 6 this week. We are getting caught up, so hopefully this will never happen again. So in that case, guys, see you in the next episode.
おはよう世界曇りを不可能の闇を払って神話を日常に変えていくホルセイ一歩ずつ意志を